So probably we can start. Mark is absent today because currently he is on sales presentation in Singapore, so he's unable to join meetings in our time zone. So yeah, let's conduct meeting without him, and I will send him a recording after that. So according to the agenda I shared in a Slack channel, first of all, I will share with you our upcoming plans, because according to the roadmap, milestone 2 is about to finish, and actually we have today is the last day of the milestone 2, and we already have 2 out of 7 stories ready and delivered, and currently we are delivering stories devoted to source item configuration and stock item configuration, as well as story devoted to group product support for MSI. Group product support already created, and now we are finishing all the preparation to merge it to the MSI mainline. So this story. And the story devoted for source and stock item configuration would be presented today. We still need some time to finalize it, but majority of changes, all the interfaces and the basic functionality was already implemented, and it would be presented today by Nikolai. And the only story which was not started and which is postponed until the milestone 3 is support of bundle product for multi-sourcing. So this story was not started, and we are postponing it till next milestone. Yeah. What wait us next? So the next 3 weeks would be pretty intensive for us. It's gonna be 3 weeks of regression testing, and we will be we're going to merge all the stories first of all, and after that we will start the first cycle of regression. We consider that each cycle of regression should take about a week, and we plan to finish the regression and prepare the J version of MSI, so general available version of MSI, which will be fully compatible with the latest version of Magento 2.3 till the end of September. So this is actually our current plans, and actually, after releasing J, we'll proceed with the next milestone. So, everything according to the plan of the iterative development and the feature-driven development, and all this feature would be available as soon as we'll finalized our version of MSI. This feature, so the feature set which would be presented in the milestone 2 of MSI, will be part of Magento 2.3 release. So the initial release of Magento 2.3. So as soon as we will finalize MSI, as a result of regression, we'll create a build, we'll create a tag on a GitHub, and that tag would be used by Magento 2.3, and it will go with a 2.3 release. So now let's. So that's regarding the upcoming plans. So we are finishing the new functionality development because actually we experienced the feature freeze, and now we're supposed to merge in the nearest time all the open stories, all the open pull requests, and from the beginning of next week we will proceed with the first iteration of regression testing. That's the plans for next week and for next 3 weeks. So it will be pretty intensive regression testing. So if you have a spare time, join us. We have a test plan for the regression, which I will announce a little bit later. I will announce it from Monday, so you can join. You can help us with testing, and of course you can help us with fixing bugs, which would be found during the testing period. That's actually update from my side. Now Alex Kolesnik will share his update regarding the MFTF testing, and because now we merged most of the open pull requests with the MFTF scenarios, and we are trying to get a green build. So Alex, feel free to share your status and what we currently have before the regression.
Hello guys. As Igor mentioned, we merged almost all MFTF tests, open tests. Currently we have one pull request which combining 6 pull requests with a test scenario, automated test scenario. Each of these tests is passing. So as soon as builds will be finished, we will merge it. Also in scope of this pull request, John and I discovered a bug in MSI. We opened it. This bug is about product is not visible on category page. We added some description here, and also John skipped all of these tests and added a list of skipped tests to description. So when the bug will be fixed, this test should be unskipped and they must be green. Currently, from the latest run we see 36 tests failing. 23 of these tests is failing because of that bug I just described. One test is failing on this error, as you can see on screenshot. This error is present on Magento mainline, and Magento core engineers currently working on fixing this issue. And regarding the rest of the tests which are failing, John can share an information about it. He has some idea how to make them green and fix it.
That's correct, yes. So I just finished committing all the actual skip tags for our tests. As Alex said and pointed out in the ticket, they've all been implemented. The last few issues we have with the actual red test currently is some of them have a modal that the test is not properly handling, adding conditional clicks into those tests to handle the modal when it's present. There are 2 tests that are failing due to invalid selectors being used on the checkout page. I'm going to update those. And we have 5 tests that deal with testing the sorting order on different grid pages. Now, those tests are kind of known to have issues because typically they will use a very special product that can only be used for that test, because they'll create 20 very specific things and then test the sorting to make sure that they are in alphabetical order or inverted order. So those can be a little bit flaky, especially if other test writer use the same product. So I'm going to look into those 5 tests to see if I can get them to be a bit more stable. And those seems to be the only big issues that I see, other than the bug 1597 that Alex did mention. So it looks like we should be able to get these fixes in today, and our main goal is to get this PR closed out with a green build.
Just to clarify, so the only fix which need to be made from the MSI team is the bug which was created by Alex. So that's it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, they have the MSI bug that y'all need to work on, and then there's the core bug that Alex mentioned that the core team is working on currently.
Yeah, so we already bumped the priority for this bug, and it's assigned to Ivan, and we will proceed probably with this bug as soon as this demo will be finished.
Awesome. Sounds good to me.
Thank you. To finalize, as John mentioned, the goal is to make a green build. Currently, I have a build triggered. This build is running right now, verifying that we skipped all of the tests and we have fixes for the other ones. Basically, after the demo, we will work on these issues John just mentioned, and we will try to give you guys, starting from Monday, a green build which you can rely and use on your regression cycle.
Great. Thank you, Alex, for update.
Thank you.
Okay. So according to the agenda, the next one gonna be Kevin, who will show you update on technical documentation for MSI Web APIs.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I've categorized all the REST APIs into 5 categories, and I have fully documented all of the endpoints that currently show up on the Swagger. And so it includes full definitions of all parameters and examples for each endpoint. And, you know, a lot of this is sort of repeat from the tutorial, which I published last month. But in particular of note is the perform bulk actions that was not covered in this tutorial at all. And it covers transferring and assigning and unassigning bulk products. So hope to have this published on Tuesday or Wednesday. Still needs a little bit more internal review, but yeah, this is what I've been working on last week.
Cool, thank you, Kevin.
Hmm?
The next presenter are gonna be Tomasz, who will demonstrate with a pretty interesting bug he discovered recently. And based on that bug, we decided to make a small regression for different product types, for order cancellation and the credit memo, and whether we have a feature parity for Magento without MSI and Magento with MSI. So Tomasz, feel free to share your update.
Hello, I will share my screen. So I was in a hurry, so I just created all the necessary products. Yesterday we were checking what is happening on a clean Magento on MSI after order cancellation or creating a credit memo. So we created a wiki page that is on MSI. I will show you. So go here. It's about technical design. So here is the page, and you can see here that almost every feature has the stable and equal behavior on both on Magento and Magento with MSI. The only problem we found, it's about the configurable product, about the creating of compensation and returning to stock after shipment. Here you can see this. So when we cancel the order after shipment on Magento, we have all the configurable products available for customers to buy, but on MSI we didn't have this result.
But quick question, can you hear me?
Yes.
So for simple groups and bundle products, so today, is it a normal behavior that if you cancel order that was already shipped, so what's the expectation there from merchant? If you already shipped an order and then you cancel the order, how do you get the product back in stock? So I understand, I'm sorry, it's a bit off top, but I'm trying to understand what the desired state for inventory behavior for simple product here. Is it okay that the Magento doesn't return product in stock for simple products?
So I don't know if this is okay, but we want to have the feature equality between MSI and Magento. So probably it's a bug of Magento, but it's another topic.
And well, I understand your scope, the scope of your task here, and I understand if you fix it or you described it. And
so the question is how a merchant should add products if they were shipped, but actually the order was cancelled. Did I understand you?
Yes, for simple products. So I understand that for configurable products it works. My question is, why does it not work for simple products, and is it the desired behavior?
It's a good question, but I don't know the answer.
Okay.
I was wondered also why configurable are returned to stock if the order cancelled after shipment.
Okay, so what is the result of this investigation? Did you fix it, or did you describe the issue here?
We had to create these tables because we had another issue and it was already fixed in this week. So I can open it. It's the scope of this investigation. We will open any and type the number. So we had this problem when the compensation reservation isn't created after configurable, after the order with configurable was cancelled. I can show this on this demo how it was fixed, and I remembered your question. Probably we should create the bug on Magento.
Well, I'm trying to. So it might be. I'm trying to say I'm not sure what the correct behavior. I don't like the fact when we have different behaviors for different behavior for different types of products. I'm not sure what is the bug. Is the bug that configurable product is not returned to stock, or is that configurable on Magento without MSI is returned to stock? So variation here, right?
I was wondered also because configurables are as a simple type of product because it's only the main product is configurable, but every part that is included is the simple product. So it's wonder me.
Okay, yeah. So if you have already a fix, I suggest to synchronize with Mark before Magento fix.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me show you how this now works. Mm-hmm. I hope that I made all preparations. If the product will appear, then it's.
And by the way, thank you for the table. They describe the issue very informatively.
So we have configurables. We will sign in. So MSI conf, it's a branch where we have fixed behavior, and another MSI, it's where we have the main line. So let's create an order. I will do this quickly, not describing what I'm doing. So as for description, we should add more than one product.
So Alessandro wrote a comment in chat that it shouldn't be probably back. Alessandro, I kind of agree with you. That's why I'm not sure if that we should merge this bug fix before synchronizing with at least Mark.
So actually, like we have several, we discovered several business cases here. We discovered credit memo, we discovered order cancellation, and we discovered order cancellation after shipment. So for credit memo creation, we have a checkbox which actually provide the possibility for merchant to clearly state whether he wants the product get back to stock or not. So we have the UI element which provide an ability to choose whether merchants want a particular product to get back to stock when the credit memo created. For the business case when order is placed but it's not shipped, the behavior is pretty clear that we definitely need to get back product to stock, because actually nothing happened to product.
But it works like that today, right? For non-shipped products, it does not.
Exactly. So okay. we currently have the feature parity with Magento. So actually, it's exactly how it's implemented in Magento. Like when we actually say the feature parity, we need to understand that we mean that our saleable quantity is the same. Because on MSI we operate with saleable quantity, and actually placing order we don't make any stock deduction at all. We just create a reservation, and when we cancel order, we just create the compensation or reservation for the same amount. Like placing order for 5 items, it's gonna be like -5, but when the order is canceled, we will just create the +5. So the saleable quantity gonna be the same because we compensated the initial reservation. And we consider that product get back to stock, but actually nothing happened to that product. So we did not affect the source quantity, neither source quantity nor stock quantity. And actually, this is pretty interesting how it happens when the shipment was done, especially when the partial shipment was done, because currently there is a possibility to proceed with the shipment, and after that to make an order cancellation, because during the shipment we already created the second reservation, which compensated the initial one. So for us it was pretty important to check this case, that order cancellation after shipment don't introduce initial reservation, the third one, which would not be compensated anymore because the order get to the finished state. And what we need to do, we just need to update the source item quantity. So we updating the source item quantity, so the quantity on particular source. And actually, currently, it happens the same on Magento mainline. But what we actually wanted to check for this particular situation, that we are not creating the third reservation which affects the sellable quantity. Sorry, Tomasz.
So let me show the result. You can see that I have canceled the order. We have two tabs. This was before. You can see that 13 products were, there was a reservation for 13 products. And after canceling order, I duplicated the tab. So you see that on Magento Dev 2.3 develop, you have the same. But after fixing this on MSI 1580, you will cancel the order, and then you have firstly 3 products reserved, but after order cancellation, you have 2,000 products again. So compensational reservation with 3 products get the products back to the stock. That's all from me. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you, Tomasz. So I believe we will spend more time during the next weeks to document it, to better document it, and because I believe this functionality would be pretty important, especially for extension developers, because what the state of our index and on our source stock, it's pretty important, especially when people build the integration with a third-party system, especially ERP. So they need to know when the reservation actually created. So let's proceed further. The next one gonna be Nikolai, who will present an update of the.
Igor, just to summarize, because so for this specific bug fix,
Yep.
we have to make sure that that's because it might be looks like the current behavior of Magento without MSI is wrong, and it's better not to fix it. But before making that decision, we have to synchronize with product owner, right?
Do you want to synchronize yourself?
Huh?
I think Igor said it's going to be discussion with Mark, but your question, you want to synchronize, or you want
No. I'm trying to understand if that before merging it, Igor, or I don't know, there will be a grooming when we discuss the results.
Yeah, I think this topic, that's what Igor said. We need to figure out, what's behavior should be and should it be fixed or keep.
Yeah.
Keep the
Okay,
same.
so just to make sure that we'll do it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's proceed to next story. Next story would be presented by Nikolai, and that's gonna be presentation of new source and stock configuration.
Yeah, the last 2 days I've been working on pull request created by Sergey. It's 1486, great new infrastructure for stock item and source item configuration. So as you can see, it's a pretty big pull request. It introduced a lot of new stuff, the new structure for configuration. So basically now in MSI, we will have the additional layers of configuration, which differs from vanilla Magento, when we have like just a system configuration and the product configuration, which is stock item configuration. And now we will have like apart from system configuration, we also will have configuration for the stocks and sources. So let me show from the UI perspective how it looks right now. It's still work in progress. So let me add new source. And as you can see, now we have like a new tab, configuration. When we are creating a new source, we started with a default system configuration ticked. So if okay, let's put some name and code. So let's change something. And okay, that doesn't matter, right? So basically, as you can see, now we successfully saved our configuration for source and retrieve it. Same works for stocks. Here we have a little bit more options to change. Same as for the sources. The initial state is we're using the system configuration, but actually we can totally change it, like for instance, like this, and the same as for the sources, we successfully saved configuration for the stocks and retrieve it. So yeah, basically we can put it again to the system settings and it will be completely safe. That's all from my side.
Can you show the API that were implemented?
API, I'm not sure is it working for now, because I've been working just for
I'm just more interested in interfaces, arguments, and operations.
Okay. So let me show in a storm, because for me GitHub is not really actually convenient. So basically we have 3 modules. It's inventory configuration API, where we have like basic interfaces: get inventory configuration interface, get source configuration interface, get stock configuration interface, save, and save stock configuration interface. We have implementation of such interface in inventory configuration.
Here it's pretty important to mention that this interface is like get source item and set source configuration interfaces accept the DTO source item configuration, and actually this introduce a limitation and assumption that the configuration would be available on all the scopes, which is currently not true for some of the configuration options which we have now. For example, like is decimal, because there is no like there is no sense to specify it on a global level, and currently it's possible to specify just on the source item level and on a source item level. But we agreed that with Mark that it's okay. We will just not provide an ability to specify that via admin UI, but it would be still possible to specify all the configuration on all the scopes.
Okay, can you go back to interfaces actually? So
interfaces. Okay, so like we have 2 interfaces, two major interfaces to retrieve configuration for the stock items and source items. So for the source item configuration, we have like 3 methods, right? We can get 3 different layers of configuration. The global one, which is relates to the system configuration for the source and for the source item. Same we have for the stocks. Again, we can retrieve the global configuration, which is a system configuration for the specified stock or for the specified stock item, which correlates to actually some product for such for given stock.
So we switched from we switched from per field retrieval to per data per scope retrieval, and that retrieves data objects for configuration, right?
Yep.
Can you please open the data object? It will be more clear probably if you open the stock item configuration.
Stock. Okay.
And
this one.
we used to have an interface per field, and that every interface had for different scope, right? And now we have them aggregated in data object, so we have less operations, but more fields in data objects, right? Yes. And it's more convenient for each scenario and for say.
Yeah. So basically we have all configuration is represented in methods. Yeah, in setters and getters.
Well, we still have this small problem that we have interfaces that have operations that are, in most scenarios, mutually exclusive. Like, so only one operation will be called from every interface in one scenario, but that's not a big deal, I would say.
You consider that that is fast up?
Okay. Okay. Valera, I will always agree with you.
Because we are not considered that this is a problem for our repositories, for example.
Well, we do, but we just agreed to that design. And as in MSI, we follow a bit different approach to API.
Yeah, and the previous version of interfaces actually were more compatible with MSI way of doing things.
I wouldn't say so. They also had 3 scopes, 3 different operations for 3 scopes. They were per field, but every field interface had 3 operations that were mutually exclusive. So this design is much better. I think I like it more. We still have this mutual exclusiveness, but not a big deal, I would say.
Let me switch the screen to you, and I need to make another screenshot of you smiling. That's for Twitter.
Okay, ready?
You stop smiling when I yeah. So do you have any other question regarding the interfaces and the general approach for configuration?
No questions from
our point, actually, the main problem was that we no need for some of the configuration options we no need all the scopes, like is decimal, because there is actually no sense to specify it on the global level or even on the source level. But just to make the same approach for all the options, we agreed to have it. So that's probably all for today's demo. Maybe there are any other questions, like general question or some particular question to the stuff which was presented today. Okay, looks like no. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you presenters. Especially big thank you for Alex Kolesnik, who is helping us with MFTF test. He made a great job this week. Thank you, Alex. Very helpful. And
one quick comment from me. I missed most of the Alex's presentation, so just important thing that I care about. Alex knows it. So our tests for MSI, do they follow modularity of the modules of application?
That's a difficult question, but if some of the tests will fail, it will be easy to make them modular, and we try to put all of the test entities and tests itself to inappropriate modules. So we never had a chance to run these tests against some modules disabled, some modules enabled. So I cannot tell 100% that we are able to run it just in a click of one button.
What the important thing for me that at least you I mean, by design and the composition, you put them in different modules. It's not one module called MSI tests, right?
Yes.
Okay, good enough for me. Thank you.
Moreover, we are putting all the tests to admin UI test. So we, as you know, we have dedicated modules, for UI and for admin UI. So all the MFTF tests are allocated in the UI modules.
And Web API tests.
And Web API tests allocated in API modules because they are covering the APIs.
Good. Okay. Good.
That's pretty. That's also.
Ideally, I think we might want to have separate Web API modules, but that's the next step. Yeah. Thank you. This is very good to hear.
Thank you. Thank you, guys, and see you next week. I believe we will have even more to show you in a week.